Oh, welcome. Welcome to the Microgreens Masterclass. I'm so excited to see many of you signing on already and letting me know where you're from. You'll see Stephanie, my assistant, is here on with us, who's going to be helping in the chat a bit. Great to see where all of you are coming from. I'd love to hear if you are brand new to microgreens or if you're already growing some microgreens, maybe considering growing for profit. Always helpful to see where people are at in their microgreens journey, as well as where people are from. People all over the US and all over the world, which is really exciting to see how microgreens are taking off. A lot of excitement about this. Rachel says she's brand new. Pamela from Albuquerque, welcome. Jen from Arizona. Great to see you all. We're going to be diving right into the content here. It's just great to see. I see some familiar names also from people I've been talking with over Instagram. Great to see you. Thank you for showing up live. If you are listening to the recording of this, welcome as well. We're going to dive into the content. Today, I'm going to be teaching on making money with microgreens. So how to start making an extra $500 a week growing microgreens from your home. Even if you've never grown microgreens before, this class is for you, or you don't have much space, don't have much time. And if you're concerned that even if you were able to grow microgreens, you have no idea who you would sell them to. If any of those things are resonating for you, I'm glad that you're here today. We're going to be talking all about it. I want you to imagine for a minute having the freedom to make money from home, doing something that you love and something that you find rewarding. This is something that you can do with microgreens, and there has never been a better time than right now to dive into this. Microgreens are incredibly profitable, and there's many reasons for that. The main three reasons that I see why microgreens are profitable is that there's a huge demand for them. This is something that's you need. You need people to be wanting to buy them, right? And we see across the board, across the world, the demand for microgreens increasing. So it started out as just kind of a high-end chefs wanting microgreens for garnish. Now there's a huge demand just for regular people who are wanting nutrient-dense food and are looking for microgreens as they become more aware of what they are. So the demand is increasing. Microgreens have a short shelf life. This allows you to be really competitive as a small-scale grower. It's just very hard to mass produce microgreens. Now, there are some farms trying to do it and distribute them, thousands of miles like the rest of our food system. But those microgreens are really low quality. They don't ship well. They just don't have the long shelf life when they are traveling. Where they really shine is when you grow them and sell them locally, which is awesome. It means you get to contribute to your local food economy. So this is another just great reason why microgreens are profitable for the small scale grower. They also grow very quickly, and you can grow them year round because they do really well in an indoor setting on a vertical rack. You can grow them inside, even inside your home, and you can grow them year round. Microgreens grow so fast. Most microgreens are ready to harvest in about 10 days, which means you can have microgreens to sell every single week. So this allows them to be profitable as well. Choosing to grow microgreens for profit will change your life. It really will. Meet Mallory. I want to just bring Mallory up. I have so many examples of growers that I've worked with in my program, and I have watched their lives change as a result of starting to grow microgreens. Mallory has been growing microgreens in her home with the dream of being able to step away from her full-time job and be home, be present. She homeschools her boys. She has an active homestead. You can check her out if you don't already follow her at Barefoot Microgreens. She's doing amazing things. And just only a few weeks ago, she fully quit her job. So really exciting for her. That was really her goal. Now, it's not everyone's goal. Some people love to have the side hustle or they love to do it part-time. Mallory really wanted to grow this into a business that would allow her to step away from that job that she did not find as rewarding and really put her passions and her effort and her time into things that were aligned with the core of who she is, really into her homesteading endeavors, growing nutritious food. Her whole family's on board. Her business has just blossomed, and it's really exciting to see that dream come true for her. With the right foundation and learning path, you can start making money within a month. This is really realistic, even if you are a total newbie. I'm just scrolling. I get distracted by the chat here, but it is good to see everyone. I'm going to take just a minute to let you know if you have questions while I'm talking, if you can put them in the chat. I am probably not going to address them in the moment unless they're very pressing because I can get distracted. I love to talk about microgreens. I will cover questions at the end. But if you're not going to remember your question, you can put it in the chat and Stephanie will compile a list, or you can hold it till the end and ask me then. So I just wanted to mention that real quick here, that we will get to questions at the end. Being profitable with microgreens is not just something that I'm not some special unicorn where somehow I've magically managed to make money with microgreens. Students are over and over and over every single week. I see it where people are pleasantly surprised how they are making sales and excited to see money rolling in shortly after starting to grow microgreens. So this is just exciting to share. We meet together every week, so we start each call with wins, and I absolutely love hearing everyone's wins. So just a few shots of other people who are finding sales shortly after growing. I'm more passionate than ever about teaching others how to grow microgreens for profit. And this is really because I'm seeing that as people are making money doing this, they are able to live a life where they are living out their values. This is something that was so important to me. And I realize now, as I've met many, many others, that this is it too. The money is allowing them to live that life where they're living out those values, and teaching others to do it is absolutely the most rewarding thing. If you don't know me already, I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Laura. I'm a nurse turned microgreens farmer, mama of three. I have three little kiddos. I'm an aspiring homesteader, mental health advocate, podcast junkie, lover of small towns and big headbands. This is true. You see me, I'm not wearing a headband today, but usually I am. I come from a little town outside of Seattle, love rural America. I'm an online educator, and I am teaching you how to start your own microgreens business, one that is flexible and rewarding and profitable. Basically, I'm just a regular person. I figured out how to live the life that I want. I worked in the healthcare setting. Many of you know my story, but if you don't, I worked as a nurse at the bedside for 12 years. And when I first started, I was excited about nursing. I guess I was very idealistic. I thought I could serve people and help the world. Being a nurse. And as I grew with nursing, I changed, healthcare changed. We really grew apart, and it started to be less and less aligned with my values and what I really wanted to do. I found myself slipping into depression. I had two young children. I was exhausted and not present for them. It was breaking my heart. And yet I felt stuck because I felt like it was sort of the only thing I knew how to do, the only thing I knew how to make money at. And I had this little nagging dream about wanting to be a farmer if I could do anything else, but it seemed impractical. So when I found microgreens, it gave me that hope back. I started very small. Some people think that I just quit nursing and started my microgreens farm. I didn't. It took a couple of years to transition. I started my microgreens farm as a little side hustle, selling to one customer and then another, and sort of growing the business over time. And as I saw how much I personally loved it and found it rewarding, my family was eating better. I felt so good about providing nutritious food to my community. And I also saw that I could make money with this. And that gave me the courage to cut back on hours and eventually transition completely away from nursing and into farming full time. Since 2020, when I first launched my first online program, and I did this mostly because of the pandemic, right? I was doing on-site workshops for people and loving teaching people about growing microgreens, and then that all shut down. So I dove into the world of online education, and I've learned a lot. And I've been able to work with so many people. Over 8,000 students have gone through my free and paid programs learning about growing microgreens. And again, it's just been so rewarding for me to share this that has changed my life and watch other people's lives get changed as well. These are just a few of the farms that have come out of my program, Make Money with Microgreens. Um, just as many as I could fit on one screen. You can screenshot it if you want to go look up some of these. They're wonderful. Some of these farms on Instagram or their websites, and see what some of these people are doing who are new to growing microgreens within the last 2 years. I've been featured on Jill Winger's podcast. You may have found me through Old Fashioned on Purpose or Diego Footer's podcast, Farm Small, Farm Smart. I've also been on Corinna Bench's podcast, My Digital Farmer. I was featured in season 1 of the Homestead documentary, and I'm a trained business coach by Charlotte Smith with 3 Cow Marketing, if you know Charlotte Smith. So let's talk about you. That's enough about me. It's plenty about me, right? Many of you have found me through one of those platforms, maybe through Instagram. I want to talk about you now. Is this right for you? Starting a home-based microgreens business. It might be perfect for you if you're feeling unfulfilled. This is a big thing that draws many people to microgreens. And then I touched on this a little bit myself personally, and how I felt really unfulfilled. I felt kind of like a cog in the wheel of the hospital, doing things that just weren't really aligned. I felt very replaceable, and I felt like I was just missing out. So maybe you're like that. Maybe you're feeling unfulfilled and you crave a lifestyle that's different than your current day-to-day. Maybe you dream of cutting back your hours, or maybe quitting your job altogether like Mallory. Maybe you're seeking a way to live out your purpose, or you believe wholeheartedly in eating whole foods, whole food diet, and this food is medicine principle. Maybe that's something that you really sits at the core of you, and you would love to find a way that you could live that out. You love the idea of growing food for yourself, your family, your neighbors. You feel called to serve others. And you desire freedom and flexibility to live out your priorities. That was the big one for me. I wanted to have the freedom and the flexibility to actually live out what my priorities were. Maybe another reason why this might be great for you, microgreens farming might be a perfect fit for you, is that you're family focused. Many of the people in my program, this is what brings them again. They're family focused. They want to be more present with their family. And whatever their day-to-day life is, it's preventing them from really being present. You want the freedom to choose your own hours. You want to be an example for your kids. You're ready to start living out your priorities again. You want to have more energy, more joy in life. And you want to stop stressing about things that don't really matter. You feel a kinship with plants and growing. Plain and simple, you love plants. You love growing. If you could be anywhere, you'd be in your garden. Microgreens are going to be a good fit for you if you feel this way. So if you've got house plants, or you have a green thumb, or maybe you just wish you had a green thumb, microgreens are going to be a great fit for you. If your hands being in the dirt is therapeutic, yes, this is for you. Above all else, if you want to promote health and wellness, and you want to do this starting with yourself, starting with your family, your neighbors, and you want to share in your local community real food. Maybe you're frustrated with the food system, with all of this processed packaged food that travels thousands and thousands of miles before it gets to our plates. Frustrated by this system, this is your opportunity to be part of the solution. Starting your own microgreens business is rewarding. It's incredibly scalable, and it's a great way to make money on your own terms. You don't need much space. We're going to get into some of the more details here real soon. You don't need much space, time, or money. Don't need any experience to get started. You will learn to profit much more quickly if you learn from someone who has gone before you. Hands down, for sure. Now is the absolute best time to start a microgreens business. The awareness of microgreens is increasing everywhere. The demand is skyrocketing, and we know more about how to successfully grow these. People have paved that path for you. Today, I want to teach about specifically how to start making $500 a week using these 3 principles that I teach in my Make Money with Microgreens program. I want to quantify it by choosing $500 a month because this is about the amount you will profit growing one simple rack of microgreens. And microgreens is very scalable. You can really grow any amount and make any amount of money. But just to give you an idea, I want to try to quantify it a little bit. So I picked that. Well, I'm going to break down. We'll do some math and look at the numbers here. And I'm going to teach these 3 principles, which are absolutely key to being successful with this for the long term. Number 1, you need to simplify your growing. Number 2, you need to learn to streamline your selling. And number 3, you need to secure sustainability for your business. I've mentioned already my program. I'm going to tell you at the end of this teaching, after we talk through these principles, I'm going to share an opportunity to join my program. I just want to put that out there right now. Sometimes people get frustrated to hear. I have seen this program change people's lives, and I'm so excited to offer it to you, along with a couple new bonuses to really help you to implement this individually and help you to be successful. I'm also going to be offering a discount, so stay till the end and I'll talk more about that. In case any of you are brand new to microgreens, let's touch on what microgreens are really quickly. Sometimes people are embarrassed to ask this question. Maybe it's not totally clear to them. When we talk about microgreens, we are talking about the stage of a plant's life. So when we think about sprouts, that's pretty clear. These are sprouted seeds, right? They've just seeds that have germinated. When we eat sprouts, we're eating the seed, the root, everything, the little germinated seed. The next stage of a plant's life after the sprout is a microgreen stage. They're seedlings. And when we grow microgreens to sell, we are harvesting them above the soil level, if you're growing them in soil. So you're not eating that seed hole and root, you're eating the stem and the leaves, the cotyledon leaves, and sometimes the true leaves as well. So microgreens really are referring to a stage in a plant's life, and almost any edible vegetable, flower, herb can be grown to this microgreen stage and harvested at this stage. This is a time in the plant's life when it is most packed with nutrition, flavor. They are incredibly tender, and they're just super, super nutritious. There's all these studies that are showing, and you maybe have heard some of them, 4 to 40 times as nutritious as the mature counterpart. This is because it's the nutrition is very concentrated because we are harvesting these when they are young seedlings. So it's pretty cool. A quick intro into growing microgreens. I wanted to just give you a picture of a single rack here. This is just a really simple setup, and this is really what you need to start making that $500 a week, this really basic setup. Microgreens can be grown vertically, so we're putting trays on the shelf, as you see here. I intentionally put a picture of just an empty rack. Sometimes you see big microgreens farms, and it's hard to tell what exactly is going on. If you were to set this up in your house, this is what you would need. This is what it would look like. It's very simple. You need some kind of shelving unit, something to grow in. 10 by 20 trays are sort of the standard. They do really well. Microgreens you can consistently grow in an indoor setup like this year round. And most microgreens we're harvesting after about 10 days. So by growing 2 rounds of microgreens with just 1 planting day a week, you will have microgreens ready to harvest each week. Let's look at some math. When we're talking about, so how are we going to make this $500 a week, $2,000 a month? Sounds great, right? To bring in some extra money. And this is very doable. This is a really small scale operation that you can do as a side hustle with a few hours a week putting into your microgreens. On average, each 10 by 20 tray that you saw on the shelf there, you're going to profit about $25. Now, yes, there's some range on this based on variety. Are you wholesaling it? Are you retailing it? There's some different profit margins there, but on average, a conservative estimate is $25 per tray. If you're growing 1 rack with 20 trays on that rack, really simple math there, $500 a week or $2,000 a month. The cool thing about microgreens, once you get that rack down, you get your growing down, you get some customers lined up, is this is a really scalable model. And the money will scale with you up to a point. Now, sometimes this is carried out by a other growers may be putting out, oh, within, a few days of growing, you're going to be making $10,000 a week and by having this many racks. Okay. Once you get to a certain point, your business model will have to shift as you're going to need to hire on a team and all that. But let's look at the small scale. Okay. We were talking about $500 a week with the 1 rack, 2 racks, still very doable. It's going to put you at $4,000 a month, 3 racks, $6,000 a month. Once you learn how to grow 1 rack, it is much easier to scale up and add another rack. And your workload's not going to double because you will become a lot more efficient in your workflows. 4 racks is going to be $8,000 a month. So you can see as you start to scale this up, the potential for making a real living wage with microgreens. Let's talk about these 3 principles. So we kind of covered the math, the basic of how does this work out? 1 simple rack doesn't take up a lot of space, pretty small amount of growing, doesn't take a lot of time. You can make that $500 a week. But I want to really focus on these 3 core principles. These are foundational to you having success with microgreens. Number 1, simplify your growing. And by simplify your growing, I want you to think about simplifying your systems. One of the biggest mistakes that I see new growers make is overcomplicating their business before it's even profitable. If you want to be profitable sooner, do these 2 things instead of overcomplicating it. You want to simplify your growth setup. A lean setup will allow you to become profitable so much sooner. And you'll make mistakes when the stakes are lower, so your mistakes won't be as costly. Start with a small setup. Start with a lean setup and get to profitability sooner. Simplify your crops. So not only are you going to simplify your growth setup, but I want you to simplify your crops. And by that, I mean start with varieties that can be learned quickly. You can start growing them consistently very quickly, and varieties that there's a demand for. Let's touch a little bit more on simplifying your grow space and consider what infrastructure you already have. What do you already have access to that you could convert to a grow space? Here's some samples of where my students are growing: spare rooms, basement, garage, shed, laundry room, kitchen, porch, shipping container, greenhouse. These are just a few, but you can see you can set up a grow space almost anywhere. So think of where you might have a little space that you could carve out to get started on this small scale and start making some money. Basic supplies you're going to need is, we talked about it already when I showed you that simple setup, trays, some kind of medium to grow in. I teach growing in a soil mix, seed, a rack to grow on if you're going to grow vertically, grow lights, and a fan. You can get my more detailed supply list at this link here. And I can send it out in an email as well if you need the supply list. So you can check that out and look at all the things I have, from everything from folding tables to harvest knives and hoses. Some of these things you will have already. So think about what you need. And again, focus on having that lean setup to start so that you can work on getting profitable. That is what I did. I started very lean. I used a rack I already had, even though the dimensions were not perfect. I got some trays from someone. I focused on high quality seed and high quality information. And I got growing. And as I started to make money, I was able to cash flow my business. If you want to make that $500 a week, you want to get to that point quickly where you're making that extra $2,000 a month, start with that simple single rack. Just focus on that to begin with. 5 shelves, 2 lights per shelf, 4 trays per shelf. That is going to get you to that revenue goal. And if you're still unclear about what this looks like a little bit and how to set it up and all of that, I'm going to send you a video. I think it's about 15 minutes, and it's just a walkthrough of a vertical setup in a spare room. So I'm just going to show you how it's set up, the actual microgreens growing. So you can see, here's how I put my shelves, here's how I hang my lights, all of that. That's going to be in a separate video in my spare room grow space that I'm going to just walk you through that. So make sure that you check your email. It will come to your inbox today or tomorrow. It's scheduled to go out to everyone who signed up for this. Some people you're already growing. Some people this is this is very clear to you. But if you're new and it's still a little unclear what this looks like, this video will be really helpful for you. So make sure that you check it out. Oh, we showed you that simple single rack already there. Simplifying your crop. So we talked about a simple grow space. So choose a room that you already have, whether that's a basement or a spare room or whatever you have available, your garage. Start with one rack and then simplify your crops as well. So not just your grow space, but simplify your crops as well. And you're going to do this by choosing varieties that are simple to grow, that mature at the same time, and that there's a demand for. This will simplify things. It is very common for new growers to get excited when they start growing and to start wanting to grow everything, all of the fun varieties. And the problem with that is you get spread very thin. You don't have that strong growing foundation yet, and you're tweaking things, and you just don't get confident in growing consistently. You may have one or two good grows, and then you spread yourself too thin by trying lots of different things. I encourage you to resist that temptation, really double down on the basic crops, pea shoots, micro broccoli, micro radish, sunflower, possibly, maybe not even sunflower. A lot of people have issues with sunflower, and a basic salad mix. These are microgreens that are very approachable. There's a huge demand for. They are simple to grow. You can grow them in the same length of time. And so they make your grow setup really, really simplified. If you're nervous about growing, you feel overwhelmed by the whole process, you are not alone. There's many, many out there. Teresa was one. She had so many questions, was nervous to get started, said she didn't have a green thumb. She enrolled in my program and followed the step-by-step instructions, giving her that really solid foundation so that she is now confidently growing microgreens every single week, consistently, and feels really secure in that. You can check her out over at Family Grown Greens. If you're feeling insecure, maybe you are convinced that you don't have a green thumb, don't let that hold you back. You can learn this. The cool thing about microgreens is they grow super fast, so you get feedback right away. If you mess something up, if you overwater, you will see the results. And next week you can try something new. It's very different from other types of farming or gardening where you have to wait for a whole nother season to try something. With microgreens, you're going to get feedback constantly and be able to really refine your growing process, and you can learn how to do this. Tips to become a great grower: invest in high quality seed. Know your seed densities. This is a big thing with microgreens. If you're planting too densely or not densely enough, you're going to have problems. Dial in your watering. Watering is absolutely critical with growing microgreens, really important to becoming a great microgreens grower. And keep records. Especially when you are brand new, write down everything, record everything. If you're in the program, you'll hear that I really focus on this. You think that you're going to remember things, but I promise you, you forget. Life is busy. You've got a lot of other things going on. So keep records. It's going to help you to streamline your growing and to reach consistency so much sooner. If you don't fast track your growing with these simple systems, with a simple grow space, simple crops, you could waste a lot of time, get overwhelmed, and just struggle with those consistent yields and high quality yields. Principle number 2. So we covered principle number 1, which is simplify your growing. Principle number 2 is streamline your selling. So once you get growing, great high quality microgreens, growing consistently, let's talk about how you're going to sell those. I teach people how to profit early with pre-selling, which means you are growing to order. Customers are ordering microgreens. You are growing them specifically for those customers. There's very little waste. And so your profit margins are better. But who are you even going to sell to? Who are these people that are going to make orders? I listed just a few of the possible customer bases. Working with lots of new growers, I am finding people are coming up with even more customers than this. Microgreens, it's a relatively new industry. You have the opportunity to really be creative. Anyone who eats is a potential customer. So few of the places where people commonly sell microgreens are farmers markets, restaurants, grocery stores, direct to consumer. And a lot are doing this now with a subscription program, so selling directly to people on a weekly basis. distributors, catering companies, farm stands, CSAs, which is community supported agriculture programs. So you're selling to another farmer or perhaps a cooperative group of farmers that are putting together a weekly box of produce, and your microgreens are included in that. Love this customer. Private chefs, hospitals, schools, pet stores. I have a number of students who are getting into the pet industry with their pet grass. Really cool. Farm stands. I might have said farm stands twice. I love farm stands. Food trucks. The list goes on. The important thing for me to emphasize here is I encourage you, if you want to be successful, if you want to reach profitability, is to choose one of these customer bases or another one if you have another one in mind, but choose one to start with. Choose one customer base to focus on in the beginning rather than trying to sell to anyone and everyone. This is going to help you to dial in your marketing and your messaging and become more effective in your sales. If you're feeling scared to sell, if this is your biggest thing that's holding you back, so many people tell me this. I don't think I could sell. I don't want to sell. I don't know how I would sell. You are not alone. So many of us feel that way. So many people who are drawn to wanting to grow food are not necessarily salespeople. But let me tell you that marketing and selling are skills just like growing that can be taught and learned. I can absolutely teach you how to be successful in marketing your microgreens and selling them. Abby is someone who was very intimidated by selling. She's a wonderful human being. She's a fellow nurse like me, a labor and delivery nurse, loves growing healthy food, also a homesteader, and has gotten into growing microgreens. She was so nervous about selling, and now she is killing it. She went through the program, built up her confidence, got a marketing strategy in place, and started actually selling to the hospital where she works, which is so cool to be bringing that nutrient-dense food into a hospital where it is most needed. And she's just recently started selling to a chain of grocery stores. So she's doing very, very well. Check out her farm, Mended Kettle. She is a huge inspiration. I'm going to be chatting with her live on Instagram in a few days. So watch for that. We'll get to talk more. But she started out scared to sell. That's my point, is she pushed through that fear, that feeling of unknown, and decided to go for it. And she is doing amazingly. And you can too, if you decide that you want to learn this and not let that fear hold you back. You're going to streamline your selling. You want to choose that one customer base. Like I said, remember that selling is serving. This helps a lot of people that don't like the idea of selling, or they have the idea that selling something is sleazy, or I don't know what people think. But if you can understand that you are growing a product, a food that is so nutritionally dense and that changes people's lives. When I sell to fellow moms who I see are able to incorporate these nutritious greens into their meals and feed their kids, and their kids love them, and the joy that brings them, the peace that brings them to know they're nourishing their family, it is incredibly rewarding. That only happens when I sell my microgreens. You have to sell to serve people. So remember, marketing and selling are skills you can learn. Start with one single customer base you want to focus on. You can grow from there once you're profitable with your first customer base. And remember that selling is the way that we serve people. What is growing to order? I talked about this. Mentioned this. Growing to order is where you are getting orders ahead of time. So customers are letting you know what they're wanting, whether you're selling directly to people and they are setting up a weekly subscription, or you're working with a produce manager at a grocery store or a chef at a restaurant. They are giving you their order ahead of time. They are purchasing those microgreens, and you are growing them specifically for that customer. This is a win-win. Customers love this. They have guaranteed microgreens. They're in partnership with you. It is great for you as the grower because you're able to increase your profits. You're minimizing waste, and it allows you to plan. So you can crop plan effectively and just minimizes the stress. You're not stressed, not trying to hustle up sales every week for the microgreens that you've grown. You want to streamline your selling by making reoccurring orders very easy. So think about your own business, who you want to sell to, and how to make it very, very easy to sell. You don't want there to be a lot of hoops to jump through. You want to make it streamlined and easy. E-commerce platforms have really helped with this. We go over it more in the program. It's a great way to streamline your orders. There's a lot of ways to do it, but be intentional about setting that up early on and keeping it simple. You're going to be able to crop plan once you have those pre-orders. It's going to help the overall flow of your business. One more slide on being scared to sell, because this is something that just continues to come up, and it doesn't need to hold you back. Remember, when you're selling, what you want to do is you want to communicate value. This is your marketing. When you're presenting what you have to offer, you want to let people know how microgreens are going to help them, why they're so valuable. And you got to get to know your customers to do this, to know what's important to them. You want to be very clear with your sales model. How do people order from you? How do they pay? How do they get their microgreens? Really simple. And you want to follow up and secure your sales. I did a quick Instagram live yesterday talking about this as well. Be used to not hearing back or hearing no even from people, and follow up with those people. You will eventually secure those sales, and you've got to just be consistent with following up. If you are nervous about selling, sometimes when you don't hear back, you can make that mean something about you personally or your own success as a business. I'm here just to let you know if you're in that stage of growing, or if you come to it. I just want to normalize that is very normal. It's normal to not hear back when you reach out to customers, especially if you're just cold emailing or cold DMing or cold calling people, to not hear back. Don't give up. That is all part of the process. Continue to follow up with people. If you want more about selling, there's a lot more in the program, because this is something that has come up with so many students. I've added even more resources. I have a brand new class, How to Land Your First Customer. It's a great class to start with if you're new. I have my pricing guides in there, even some scripts to follow if you're feeling really stuck on what to say, and marketing templates to make it easy to kind of plug and play, put your business name in, your logo in, and use some of those templates to get you started so you're not stuck. If graphic design is not your thing, there's a lot of tools and resources that are going to help you. So let's review Principle 2. We started with Principle 1, which was simplify your growing. Principle 2, you're going to streamline your selling by implementing that grow to order sales model. And this is going to help you profit even sooner, and especially it's going to help you get to that $500 a week that we've talked about. Principle number 3 in being successful with making money with microgreens for the long term is securing your sustainability. And by this, I mean your sustainability as a business. The best way to do this is to engage with an ongoing community of support. Statistics show us that most small businesses fail in the first year. I don't say this to scare you or to run you off. I say this because this is reality. And why do businesses fail? The two most common that small businesses fail is, one, they don't become profitable soon enough. So they just run out of money. And 2 is people burn out, or they just give up. They become overwhelmed and they give up. Some people fail ahead of time, like they just never start because they have all these worries. So that failing ahead of time is the saddest thing, because you have so much potential to do this if you want to. But if you let your fears hold you back, then you're kind of failing ahead of time by not even starting. You don't have to do this. Here's the ingredients for a sustainable business. This is my recipe for a sustainable business. Ingredients. First, you need a solid why. You need to have a very strong reason why you are doing this, why you are starting a microgreens farm. It's got to be deeper than just, it'd be nice to make some extra money. You got to go deep. And this is where the course, my program actually starts, is helping to guide you through this to get to that deeper level why. And so you have that as a foundation for your business. You need a framework to follow to get you started, a place to get started. You need to reach profitability. This sounds obvious, but sometimes we overlook this. If you want to be a sustainable business, you need to be profitable. And I encourage and help you to become profitable sooner. You need a mentor to ask questions to. Questions are going to come up. There's a ton of information out there in the way of YouTube and Instagram and all of these things. There's so much information, but you need a consistent person that you can go to, or a consistent place with quality information to ask your questions to that come up to. Some kind of accountability is another ingredient in this recipe for sustainable business. If you are new to entrepreneurship, having accountability is huge. There's many times when we can stall out, particularly if life is very busy. Many of the people in my program, and myself included, have very busy, full lives apart from microgreens. We have all of our family obligations, often another work or other passions, kids and their passions. So we're juggling a lot. And having accountability is really important to keep you moving forward and keep you making progress, as is having a community of support, community of people who understand what you're doing. They're doing it to have similar goals, who are coming alongside you and supporting, sharing your wins, answering your questions when they come up, and helping support you through the journey. These are all things that are going to help you to reach your goals. The need for sustainability is exactly why I created my online program, Make Money with Microgreens, because I see how many people get excited about growing microgreens. I started with just one-on-one consulting when I started teaching people online. And what I found over and over again were people that had stalled out or burned out or hadn't yet reached profitability, and they were ready to give up. And this is such a bummer when you've invested money and time and energy, and you need those ingredients that we talked about to have the long-term sustainability for your business. So you can do this, continue to do this. Uh, you can do it. It's hard to do alone. It's so much easier to do when you have that community of support. And that's what I offer. My online course is so much more. I hear it from my students every week. They say, this is so much more than just a course. This is a community. We have just wonderful people. I'm incredibly blessed by the people that are in the program, hardworking, just good people that are rooting for each other. We're all pulling for each other. We're all celebrating as each business is reaching their own specific goals. We meet together live every single week and share wins and struggles, ask questions. It's an opportunity to network with other growers in the program and get your questions answered. So the course is self-study. I changed it to this. It works the best because people have so much going on in their lives. You can go through it at your own pace. Some people go through it very quickly. They have full focus on microgreens. Others, it's something very much on the side. They work through it slowly over time, but know that every week you can come to a live call and get any questions answered so you can implement the learning that you're doing and get support with your new business from me and from other new growers. If you want to start a microgreens business, there's kind of two approaches you can take. You can either piecemeal the information. There's a lot of free information out there, and you can piece that together and start growing. The other choice, the other approach to take is to invest in an online course or program that's going to help guide you and support you through this process. Rita was on the fence about this, but now that she's in, she just actually launched her business. I'm so proud of her. She's saying this course is a community, and with the support of the weekly sessions, it's what helped her to launch her business. And I see this a lot, people who are maybe starting to grow, dabbling with it, but they're just kind of stalling out, and they need that community of support to push them to that next level. Rita's a great example from North Alston Farms. You can go check her out as well. If you want to give starting a business a shot, set yourself up for success. Plug into a network of support, find a community to provide encouragement, inspiration, accountability, all of this that you need to be successful for the long term. So to kind of review what we've talked about today, we talked about that $500 number. And again, just trying to quantify how much money can you make. The sky's the limit, really. You can be even much smaller scale. You can just grow 4 trays a week if you wanted. But 1 rack a week is going to be $500 a week, $2,000 a month. If you use that simple math with the average of $25 profit per tray. And you're going to use these 3 principles to ensure your success and your profitability. Principle one is going to be simplifying your growing. And we talked about that with simplifying your grow setup and your varieties that you're growing. Streamline your selling. You're going to do that by choosing one specific customer base to focus on, and you're going to implement a grow to order model so that you are getting sales ahead of time. Number three, secure your sustainability. And I encourage you to do this by getting into a community of support so that you have people around you to ask questions to and to help you to grow your business and stick with your business. My online program, Make Money with Microgreens, will expand on all three of these principles. I've touched on them fairly quickly. You could definitely take that information and run with it, but I go a lot more in depth. I want you to have the freedom and flexibility that we've talked about, that fulfillment that you crave, that knowing that you're doing something that you believe in, that feels really good. And I will teach you how to make money for sure. But I know for most of us, it is about more than that. There's a lot of ways we could make money. We need money to live. So I don't want to push that to the back. Yes, we need to make money, and I will teach you how to do that. But more than that, I want to teach you how to do it by doing it with something that really fulfills you, that you find rewarding. So you're doing both. You're making money and you're also having an impact, a positive impact on the world with something that is aligned at the core of who you are. Make Money with Microgreens teaches you all of these things. So it will teach you how to set up your business. This is another thing people get really overwhelmed with and can cause people to not even start because they are scared by the hoops to jump through, just setting up their business. I will teach you how to grow amazing microgreens consistently. This is really important that you have a very high quality product. I will teach you how to sell your microgreens with confidence and ease. We touched on this a little bit today. I'll teach you how to scale your business and reach your goals. And I'm going to give you support for the long haul, all the support that you need. So the return on the investment, if you choose to get into a program, is huge, absolutely huge. Jill from KE Energy, check her out also on Instagram. She's another really successful microgreens operation who's been growing microgreens for, I'm trying to remember when Jill signed up, I think a year and a half. She's doing phenomenally. But what she really focused on when I chatted with her was how she's now making a living out of something that she's passionate about. So for her, and many of us, we have opportunity to make money many different ways. But growing nutritionally dense food is something that many of us are so passionate about. The ability to make a living or make money doing that is huge. It is life-changing. And Jill is just thankful for the knowledge and the support provided by the program that allowed her to live out that passion. Why choose to learn from me? So there's a lot of programs out there. If you have been diving into microgreens and looking around, you've probably seen, if you're brand new, maybe you haven't, but there's many different courses and programs available. I encourage you to find one that fits you. Find someone that you click with, that you want to learn from, and learn from them. The beauty of starting a microgreens business now is people have paved the way. So you can take advantage of that. You don't have to start from zero and reinvent the wheel. You can learn someone's system. You will want to adapt it to fit your particular environment, to fit your goals, to fit what kind of business you want to have. But to start with a framework is so valuable. So why choose to learn from me versus someone else? One is you maybe find me relatable. So something about me, I am a busy mom. My kids and my family are my priority. And many of the people in my program come to me and learn from me because they want to learn from someone who has managed to start a successful business while also prioritizing family. So I have very little expectation for people to be able to commit full-time hours to something like this. I teach you how to start small and how to scale it up. So many people want to learn from someone that has a similar life to them. You may share my belief about health and wellness, that it starts with the food we eat, and that this is a way that you can live that out. You may resonate with me and my desire for that freedom and flexibility, the ability to prioritize family, give back, and just live an amazing life. So I hope that those are some of the reasons that you may choose to learn from me. If you're looking for a way to live a life that's more aligned, this is it. And I'm passionate about sharing it because this was exactly what it was for me once I started doing it. My last few years of working at the hospital was very challenging for me, and because it just didn't feel aligned anymore. Not only was I missing my little kids and felt like they needed me and I wasn't present for them, but the work I was doing, the day-to-day, those 12-hour shifts, it just wasn't aligned. And once I found microgreens, it was just therapeutic for me in such a huge way because it resonated on that core level. And that's why I want to share it, because I know there's other people out there who are looking for that. Paula is a perfect example. If you don't follow Paula Wiseman, go follow her, Grow Wise Microgreens. She has a very similar story. She worked as a firefighter for over a decade and really was looking for something that was aligned with her values. She believes in sustainability, holistic living. It just is so important to her. And now growing microgreens is a way that she can live that out. She's got a really unique style of growing. She grows and sells living microgreens. They're beautiful, and just the joy and passion, I've watched it transform her and her family and her whole business. It is incredible to see her, what she's doing in Australia with her microgreens and how it's changed her life and allowed her to live out those really strong values of sustainability and eating a really whole food diet. So it's cool to see. Go follow Paula. Know this, you can start right now. You can start doing this. I know it can feel overwhelming or intimidating to some people, but know that you can start this right now, right where you're at now, on a small scale. If you've been looking for a way to change your life, this could be it for you. This is it for me. It's it for so many of my students. Another example, Garrett. I just have a wealth of people I could keep bringing up that have had their lives changed. And I bring them up because it's so inspirational. Garrett's another one that I've watched his business just grow and thrive. Ghost Grows. He had a goal to quit his job and farm full time by the time his baby was born, and he accomplished that goal. His baby's now, I think, 6 months, 8 months old. How old is your baby, Garrett? I just saw. Garrett is a huge inspiration of someone who wanted to be home and present with his family and has made it happen. And he says, I'm living my best life. Thanks to this program, I was able to quit my day job and I'm now growing full time. The ongoing support has been incredible. So it's been so cool to see what that has meant to Garrett and his family and how it's changed their lives. So if you're tired of spinning your wheels, this was kind of me stuck trying to figure out how to live a life that is more aligned with your values. I felt like this in the last few years of nursing, just like I was kind of treading water. On the outside, everything looked great. People kept telling me, oh, you have such a great job. You're so lucky. Everything is so great. But inside, I just felt stuck and trapped and wanted something different and was stuck in kind of research mode of like, what could I do? And would this work? What you need if you're stuck like that is a plan to follow. And make money with microgreens will give you that plan. It will allow you to stop spending all hours on Google and YouTube. We're in research mode. No more trying to reverse engineer other people's businesses by watching Instagram reels and try to figure out what they're doing. No more piecing together contradictory information. Oh, that was so frustrating in the beginning. I would hear so many pieces of contradictory information. One grower would say this, another person would say the exact opposite. I had no idea what to do. If you want to fast track your success, work with someone who has been there and who can hand over their system, resources, and tools and get you the results that you want. So you have that starting point, that consistent framework to follow. Make money with microgreens, everything you need to know to start and grow a profitable home-based microgreens business to reach your life goals. It's got everything in one place. This is what a lot of people really love about the program. Step-by-step videos, worksheets, resources, everything, marketing, selling, swipe files, templates, all of it in one place, along with the community of hundreds of other new growers like you. There are 4 components of this program. I'm going to touch on them briefly. I'm going to teach you how to start your own business. So if you've never owned your own business, I'm going to walk you through the basics of this so that you set yourself up for success right in the beginning. Liz Kessler, this course helped give me the clarity I wanted around my business I wanted to create. And this is so important, to be very intentional with your business when you're setting it up, rather than just kind of jumping in, growing some microgreens and seeing. Those are the people that I see that don't stay in it for the long term. They have not set up that foundation for their business and for why they're doing it, and have that really clear vision for what they want. I'll teach you how to grow. So I'm going to teach you how to set up your business. I'll teach you how to grow amazing microgreens consistently using my tested process for growing beautiful, high-yielding microgreens week after week. There's a bonus brand new guide coming to the course. This is going to be a grow guide library. So I really encourage you to start with those basic varieties to begin with. Once you've nailed those, I have a lot of growers now who've been in the program for 2 years. They are rocking those varieties. They are wanting to branch out, and we're putting together a collaborative grow guide library. It'll be 30 videos broken down by variety. So if you want to try growing a new variety, you're going to get to watch someone walk you through their process step by step. Another successful grower in the group. This allows you to see other people's systems and walk you through growing that variety. I'm so excited. New resource. It's really been a fun work in progress with many of the students who are already growing successfully. RE, this program gave me a clear plan and continues to guide and support me along the way. It's been well worth the investment. So again, that clear plan, that guidance and support is what's so key. I'm going to teach you how to sell with confidence and ease. So set up your business, grow your microgreens, sell your microgreens, and finally provide you with that ongoing support network to keep your business thriving. Join our ongoing community and learn how to grow and scale, get the accountability and the support that you need. We do the weekly live Q&As. There's also a bank of recorded calls. So when you enroll, you get, I don't even know how many hours. There's maybe 40 hours of past Q&A calls. So don't overwhelm yourself with those, but use them. There's some real gold nuggets in there. Listening to the questions that come up from other new growers is going to give you that information before you even get to the question. A lot of times it is really valuable. So you will have access to all of that as well. Jill from Black Barn Botanica is a wonderful flower farmer, who's also really successful with her microgreens. You can check her out. This is worth every minute and every dime you will spend. It's real life information that applies no matter where you live. I love the ongoing support and new additions to the program. Yes, we are always adding to the program, which is really cool too. Does this support expire after a few months? No, you are in for life. I'm still offering lifetime access. This is going to change, but right now, if you sign up and enroll in this period, you will lock in that lifetime access. Which means you get access to everything for life. In addition to the 4 components that we talked about, starting your business, how to grow, how to sell, how to scale, you're also going to be getting the Q&A vault that we talked about, the exclusive student directory. So you will get to see who else is in the program, where they're growing. So many students have connected with each other who live and grow near each other, which is really cool. This directory is always growing and is a great resource, a really valuable resource. I also bring guest experts into the program about every month. Here's a few that have been featured recently. Legacy Greens, talking about edible flowers. Urban Greens, talking about growing hydroponically. Mama Knows Best, talking about scaling. Tiny Greens, talking about nutritional value. Seedleaf was covering crop planning. Micro YYC, talking about reusable containers. There is so much in this program, and I'm not an expert in everything, so I'm bringing people in. We had a bookkeeper come in recently to talk about keeping books for your business. You get all of this. This is the complete Make Money with Microgreens experience. all of these things that we've talked about. We have a private Facebook group that's very active. It's a great way to connect with others. The Grow Guide step-by-step videos, Q&A recordings, monthly guest experts, a student directory, a great troubleshooting guide, pricing guides, bonus selling class. You're going to get lifetime access to this in the community. I totaled it all up, well over $8,000 worth of value. It's selling today for $797, which the return on investment for this is absolutely incredible. And I told you I'd offer a discount at the end of this class. I'm going to offer a $100 discount. So that would make it just $697 for the program. This is the best price that will ever this program will ever be available. The value is tremendous. So take advantage of this. This $100 off does expire in just a few days. So take advantage of it. And this is kind of to prompt you. Some of us, we need that urging to get us to invest in ourselves, to believe in ourselves that we can do this. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of that early bird access price and save the $100 and just pay the $697, done for life. I do offer a payment plan as well if that works better for you, $147 for 6 payments. Let's look at the return on investment. If you started with the 1 rack, we already talked about that, 20 trays a week, that's going to be at $26,000 over 1 year that you have the potential of making. Even if you started very, very small with 4 trays, I think I have 4 trays behind me, very tiny, would take a very minimal amount of time. Even that, if you sold 4 trays a week, you would earn over $5,000 in a year. So I'm wanting you to wrap your head around the return on the investment in this program. And I've had many students, actually, I was interviewing a lot of students to get feedback about the program. So we look at these numbers, right? If you're going 3 racks and every week, that's $78,000 a year. That's a decent amount of money. But some of my students said, even if this is what I decided, they're telling me. I had a couple students say this, so I threw it on this slide. They said, even if I decided that I don't want to grow microgreens for profit, just the savings for my family and not buying salad mix and the other greens I used to buy was well over $1,000 a year. So again, the return on investment for this program is huge. Another student, I began this journey with no idea where to start. This program organized everything I needed to know step by step. As a busy mom, teacher, and student, it's extremely helpful to be able to work through these steps at my own pace and know that I have support along the way. So now Paka is in Hawaii. She is, like she says, a very busy mom, student, teacher. She's got a lot on her plate, and she's also growing microgreens and feeling so much passion about growing nutritious food for her local community. So did you think I was done? No, I'm not quite done. I'm almost done. There's a few more bonuses that I want to talk about, and these are really, really good. I told you I had more bonuses, so I told you about the discount. There's also a great marketing bonus. So this is another thing that can hold people back is I don't know how to market. I provided a bundle of templates where you can plug in your farm name, utilize these. They'll get you started so quickly. A Know Your Numbers workshop. I encourage you as the business owner to understand your expenses and your profit margins early on. This feeds into your success, long-term sustainability of your business. So you'll get access to this workshop as well as the new class on landing your first microgreens customer, a great selling class talking about choosing your ideal customer base, how to choose that, how to set up your marketing plan, formulate a sales model, and how to retain your customers. And the Grow Guide Library, I mentioned this briefly. This is a brand new resource that will be published to the program very soon. Still a work in progress. I'm super excited about it. But when you enroll, you will get locked into free access to this whole Grow Guide library as well. Not available anywhere else. It's not going to be available anywhere else, just in the program. The other brand new bonus, I saved this one for last because I am so excited. I'm excited about all the bonuses because I know that they're going to help you to be successful doing this and help you to be profitable so that you can reach those goals, whatever they are for you. If they're monetary goals, if they're just goals for alignment and a sense of purpose, their goals for having more flexibility in your life, I know that all these resources are going to help you get there. And that's why I'm so excited to share. I'm also going to be offering, this is the first time I've done this, one-on-one support from your own Microgreens mentor. As I've interviewed a lot of students, this is one thing that's come up in my mind. I don't want to just sell this program. I don't just want you to invest in a course. I want you to be successful. And one of the ways I feel like I could make you most successful is by helping you to individualize your learning, to really implement it in your situation. So I am going to be meeting one-on-one with the first 20 students that sign up. I will be your mentor. After that, I've got 2 other mentors who are going to be working closely with me. They are amazing business owners and microgreens growers and just human beings. Cecilia from Mama Grows Micros and Mallory from Barefoot Microgreens are going to be my other microgreens mentors. You will get one-on-one calls with one of us, 2 sessions of one-on-one calls with us. So I encourage you, meet with us when you're first starting to figure out how to best implement your learning, how to work through the course most effectively. Any initial questions or concerns you can ask in one of those one-on-one calls. And then save your other one-on-one call for once you've gone through the course and are starting to really implement your learning and have another opportunity to touch base with that same mentor one-on-one and get your questions answered. You still will have access to the weekly group calls, so you're going to be getting a lot of check-ins, but the one-on-one support is going to be invaluable. And so this round, when you enroll, you will get your own mentor. It's going to be amazing. If you're feeling nervous, maybe you're thinking, yes, this sounds really good. I think this would be right for me, but you're feeling nervous. Don't be nervous. I do offer a money back guarantee, and I do this mostly just to take that concern. I know buying anything online from someone that you don't really know can be nerve-wracking. So I want to just eliminate any of that concern. I have a 14-day, because this is very, we have our weekly group calls. 14 days will give you enough time to look through the program, listen to some calls, come to a couple calls, and see if it's not right for you. I will give you your money back, no questions asked. Don't worry about that. So take that off your worry list. We got enough things to worry about. Laura Stout from Sacred Mountain Microgreens. This program covers how to set up your business, which is so valuable. With this guidance, my new business is official. You will not regret investing in this. And I just wanted to highlight Laura because she is brand new and she's been coming to all the weekly calls. She's such a great energy. And she has used this program to set up her business. And you can do this too. You really can. You can have your own official business. I'm just really excited for the potential of you like Laura who can be doing this, getting the guidance you need to move forward. I think we've covered all these bonuses, the Facebook group, selling subscriptions, pricing guides. I'm going to move past this. I want to get to the Q&A section. So I'm trying to speed up here. I've gone over my hour. When does the program start? It is self-study, so you can jump in. You will get immediate access to everything, and you will get lifetime access in this if you sign up by the end of this month. The program does close May 31st, so you will not be able to enroll after that. If this is too advanced for a newbie, absolutely not. Even if you've never grown and have 0 equipment, I will teach you how to grow from scratch. What if you're already growing microgreens? This comes up a lot. This is great. If you're already growing, you're really going to hit the ground running. You're still going to find so much value. And what if I can't come to the calls? We do our calls Wednesday at 10 Pacific. If that time doesn't work for you, you can still submit your questions and I will answer them and you can listen to the recordings. There's many who do that and find tremendous value in that. Kim, this program provided foolproof details and have fast-tracked my success. So Kim's doing awesome things with her business as well. Check her out, Mighty Little Microgreens. She's selling now at 4 farmers markets, I think. It's pretty amazing. But Laura, do I really need to pay for an online course? I quoted this because I get this literal question, and I think it's the wrong question. The question you should be asking is, will I see a return on this investment? What you learn in this program, even if it helped you to reach profitability 2 weeks sooner than doing it on your own, the answer would be yes. Yes, you would see a return on this investment. So you want to start thinking like a business owner and start thinking about return on investment versus just spending money. If you will see a return on this investment, it absolutely is worth it. You may not feel ready to trade in your 9 to 5. A lot of people are like, oh, I could never quit my job, do this radical lifestyle shift. But could you start small? Could you start with 4 trays or 1 rack? What if microgreens could be the side hustle that gives you purpose, joy, and extra money in the bank? Lori, the wealth of resources and support from the group calls are so valuable in helping me overcome obstacles in my microgreens business. It's been so cool to watch Lori's business grow. She's doing amazing things. Abundant Greens Urban Farm. Another person who needed some guidance, needed that framework to follow and that support to get her business off the ground. Remember, a single rack is $500 a week, which works out to $26,000 a year. So what would you do with an extra $26,000 a year? Would that make a difference in your life? Would it help you? Missy says there's no doubt that you're learning from someone who genuinely wants and believes in your individual success. And I love this that Missy shared because this truly is my heart. I want you to be successful. I want you to reach your goals, and I want to support you in doing it. What would it mean to you to be able to make money from home, doing something that you believe in, that you love? This is your time. You can do this. You can start your own microgreens farm business now. I hope to see you inside Make Money with Microgreens. Again, the doors close, so enrollment closes May 31st. I wanted to give you a little bit of time to think about it, talk to your partner, your family, decide if this is the right fit for you. But jump in quickly, take advantage of that discount and get into the program. I'm going to be doing a call for new students on June 5th. So I'm really excited to see and meet you face-to-face, well, over Zoom face-to-face, and just see where you're wanting to go with all of this. I am going to take a minute to look at questions. Thank you so much, those of you who are able to stay here. I apologize. I was trying to keep it about an hour. I get really excited. There's so much to share. That's why I'm hoping you'll join me in the program. There's just a lot more to share about how to do this. Let's dive into some of the questions here. Going to go up here. Stephanie, I'm not sure if you were able to put questions together for me. Oh, here they are. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. Stephanie's kind of compiled, so I'm not having to scroll through the chat. I want to be mindful of your time. Number 1 question, do microgreens need to be grown in a controlled environment to prevent fluctuation in temperature and humidity? The answer is it is easiest to grow them consistently if you're able to control temperature and humidity. Yes, they can be grown in an environment such as you see that I grow in a hoop house. It is an unheated hoop house. It is just more challenging to grow them consistently. So I encourage you, if you're brand new to microgreens, to start by growing indoors. It allows you to build a really strong foundation for growing. And then you can grow in an environment that is less controlled. You just need to really document and learn what your grow cycles are. When I grow out my hoop house, for example, my grow cycles are much longer. So I take that into account. What type of business license do you need? It depends where you live. And we will walk through that in the business model, how to set up your business module. So it depends on where you live. It's a hard question for me to answer, but it's a simple matter of figuring out. A lot of times people get hung up on this question of licensure, not sure what the regulations are. Simple thing is to just dig into it and find out. Start with your Department of Health. If you're in the United States, start with your state Department of Health and find out what kind of business license you need to sell produce. Do you buy regular seed or is there microgreen seed? I recommend that you buy seed that is marketed as a microgreen seed. You can use other seed, but seed that's been marketed as a microgreen seed is seed that's intended to be grown very densely, and so it tends to do a lot better. How can you tell if your microgreens have gone bad? Salmonella. I've heard that microgreens get salmonella easily. Yeah, so this is one of the reasons I love microgreens is that they are really a low risk food compared to sprouts. Sprouts are a high risk food. There's a lot of foodborne pathogens that will thrive in the environment that sprouts are grown in. It's a dark, damp, wet environment. Microgreens are grown in a well-ventilated, lit space, and we're harvesting them well above the roots. So they're actually considered by the USDA as a low-risk food. The biggest risk is actually just handling. So hand sanitation, making sure you're washing your hands, really basic. Um, uh, there can be issues. I walk through troubleshooting issues with mold and things like this. We'll talk about all of that. Salmonella is common in sprouts, not very common in microgreens. Do you factor in the cost of electricity for grow lights in the amount you make? Absolutely. Yeah, the Know Your Numbers workshop will walk you through all of that. So definitely that is a cost of business. So lights, fans, dehumidifiers, if you're using those, you want to make sure it's a simple formula to figure out as you scale up your operation or however much you're growing, that you can figure out what that cost is for you by looking at your electricity costs. But definitely want to factor that in. As one of the reasons I started the workshop, the Know Your Numbers workshop, was to help clarify that for people. So we're not just looking at seed and soil costs, we're looking at all the overhead cost as well. What size packaging do you use? My most common packaging sizes are, this is the volume, not the amount of microgreens. So I use a 12 ounce, a 24 ounce, and a 64 ounce. Those are my most common sizes for packaging. I've tried sunflower microgreens, but I've always gotten mold on my seeds. What could I be doing wrong, and how could I prevent mold on the seeds? Multiple things. Sunflower can be really challenging to grow, definitely are prone to mold. It could be a seed quality issue. It could be that you are soaking your seeds too long. There's so many variables. I'd love to chat with you about it. A lot of times people are over soaking their sunflower. I only soak my sunflower for 1 to 2 hours before planting it and have very little problems with mold. If I do have problems with mold, it's typically always right at the unstacking phase. So we stack our microgreens trays after we plant them while they're germinating. And when you unstack them, they have not gotten airflow during that time. So that's the time they're most prone to mold. They're in a warm, wet environment without airflow. As soon as I put those trays into a really well-ventilated area, and I do a gentle top water, that mold dissipates and doesn't return. The key with mold is avoiding an environment that mold will thrive in. So you want to make sure you have really good airflow in your space, that you're managing your humidity and you're not overwatering. How many ounces are you getting per tray, and how much is average to charge per ounce? So this really varies depending on the variety of microgreens. So my pea shoots, like I have behind me here, I get about 1.5 pounds of yield. Something like broccoli, I get about 10 ounces. So the prices will vary. I have a standard price for my microgreens, a standard price for my shoots, and I go over all of that in my pricing guides as well. Is there biodegradable packaging for microgreens? Absolutely. I use a compostable packaging because most of my microgreens are sold. I live just outside of Seattle, and people have the access to industrial composting. And so these are great type of packaging to use. I'm very thankful that I found I get them from Good Start Packaging. World Centric is the product name. World Centric has tons of biodegradable packaging. So yes, there's so many options with packaging, and I encourage everyone to find a type of packaging that fits your business model. So you want to look at cost, and you want to look at your values as well when you're thinking about packaging. If growing in a small hoop house, how do you manage the heat in the summers when it gets to be 95 or 100 degrees? To be honest, if it is 95 to 105 degrees outside, just the ambient air, not even in the greenhouse, it will most likely be too hot in a small greenhouse to grow microgreens. My hoop house does get into the low hundreds Fahrenheit. My microgreens are not very happy when they get that warm. Really, 90 degrees is about as hot as most varieties like to get. So I manage it by using a heavy shade cloth over my whole house. That drops the temperature down almost 20 degrees. It's really phenomenal. I have roll-up sides, so my ventilation, my greenhouse is really wide open. So these are things that I would recommend you try. If this is the space you have to work in, get a good shade cloth. Find a way to open up the house, the doors and the sides, so that you're getting good ventilation, and you're going to need to water more frequently. I find all the supplies in Mexico? I recommend that you look for sourcing supplies locally. My supply list, I use a lot of Amazon links because they're convenient for people, but I encourage you to find things locally if at all possible. Yes, connect with some other growers, find some other farmers or growers around you and see where they purchase things. There are agriculture supply stores, greenhouse supply stores, nurseries, things like this that you can find a lot of these things locally. There's a lot that can be ordered as well, and a lot that will be shipped to Mexico, I'm sure. But I can't speak specifically to Mexico or to other countries. You'll have to do a little research there. How do you deal with the medium after harvesting? I compost it. It makes fantastic compost. In fact, I'm just filling all of my grow bags with composted trays. I have not successfully reused it for microgreens. Unfortunately, my compost just doesn't get hot enough. If you had a great setup for composting your microgreens remains and was able to get it hot enough, long enough, you could probably reuse it for microgreens. That's my goal, is to close that soil loop and reuse. But for now, I feed to my chickens, neighboring farm animals, and then I compost it and use it in my garden. I have a sizable garden and makes fantastic compost. So there's a lot of opportunities. A lot of my students actually have a partnership with another farm or a landscaping company or something where they are purchasing or picking up their microgreens remains. So there's a lot of opportunity there. How long do the greens last after harvesting? Typically 7 to 10 days. My microgreens often last a lot longer, but I will date them to be conservative, best by 7 days on my more delicate microgreens and 10 days on my shoots. And they last that long. They're still looking great at that point. Because I take care, because I'm not shipping them, and because I'm harvesting them dry, I will teach you all these things about how to extend the shelf life of your microgreens. If you are not on Facebook, how will questions be answered? You can email me. We have a private Instagram. So a lot of people have found me on Instagram. So I have a private Instagram account just for students. And this is a great way that you can DM me. We can chat back and forth. I do a lot of voice DMs back and forth. There's additional content on that platform, or you can just email me. Email is fine. There's many people who are anti-Facebook. I was for a long time. I started the Facebook group at the prompting of my students, and I've actually been blown away. It's been so valuable. So there are people who have chosen to get back on Facebook just for the group, but you don't have to. You can certainly ask your questions via email. Might be a silly question, but do you teach organic growing? I was certified organic for several years. I no longer pay for that certification, but I still grow using organic methods. So everything I teach is following those organic principles. I do touch briefly on if organic certification is right for your business or not. But I won't walk you through the steps of the organic certification process. There's a lot of other resources that will do that for you. But yeah, I absolutely believe that microgreens can and should be grown organically. So not a silly question at all. What is the best way to grow microgreens in a small greenhouse setup without artificial light? Another greenhouse question. I will say one more time, growing inside is going to be easier. Being able to control temperature and humidity in a spare room or a garage or a basement or somewhere in your home is going to be easier. Growing in a greenhouse is definitely possible, but it is more challenging. I do not use any supplemental light. I only use sunlight when I'm growing my microgreens, and it is more than enough. They do great with sunlight. Sunlight is wonderful. So no, I don't extend even in the wintertime when the length of the day is shorter, I don't supplement the light, and I don't need to. You could, if you're trying to get shorter growth cycles, you could. I just lengthen the growth cycle and adjust my planning, meaning I plant sooner for an end harvest date. So you definitely don't need to add artificial light to your greenhouse. Even with a shade cloth, they get ample light. How long do greens last after harvesting and packaging? I think I touched on that, 7 to 10 days. What percentage of that 26,000 goes into expenses? It depends on you and what you are, what expenses you are paying for. Your actual setup is very inexpensive. Even if you were to buy everything new, you're looking at probably about $800 for your rack. Trays. There are some cost of goods that you're gonna have to make repeatedly. So if you're growing in soil, you're gonna have to buy soil. If you're gonna have to buy seed, you're gonna have to buy packages. So it really can vary a little bit. My margin is about 70%. So I have about a 70% profit margin. Looking at everything, looking at website hosting, looking at marketing expenses, all of that. So you'll have to figure that out for you. But it is margins are very high on microgreens. If you looked at any other kind of farming where you're making a very small percentage of the sale price, it's not like that with microgreens. You're making a huge percentage of it is profit. It's pretty exciting. What is the key ingredient to getting to grow to order customers and subscriptions? The key is really relationship marketing. So taking the time to connect with people and seeing people as people, whether it's directly to people that you're selling, direct to consumer, or to produce managers making a buying decision, or a chef, or anyone who's making a buying decision, is having that interpersonal relationship where they are meeting you as the business owner, as the farmer, as the grower, and being really generous with samples. That will help a lot to show the quality of your product. So a lot of the objections people have around microgreens is that they don't last, or people won't like them. So being able to freely offer samples and make that connection is going to help you to establish those orders. What do you think about hydroponic growing microgreens? I think a lot of people are doing it very successfully. I myself do not grow hydroponically. I've dabbled with it a little bit just for the sake of learning a little bit. I brought in a guest grower to teach on it in the program for those who want to learn about it. I love growing in a soil mix. It really resonates with me. It fills me up. I like it. It works for me. But I think it can be done hydroponically as well. How many times a year do you open enrollment? It is most likely, so things with the program are shifting a little bit. Like I said, the lifetime access has been open to people up until this point. As the value increases in this program and the number of students increases, this will most likely be limited to a year. So you will get 12 months with the opportunity to extend if you want to. And we'll be opening the program 3 times a year. What are your thoughts on balancing microgreens with market garden farm? Oh, I love this question. Will you be able to assist us in growing in areas? Okay, that's another question. Yeah, I love this question about balancing because I'm seeing more and more people doing this. I'm seeing mushroom growers and flower farmers and other small-scale diversified CSA farmers who are wanting to add microgreens to their offerings. And I think it's incredible. What I love about it is that microgreens are something that you can offer consistently year-round. So you can piggyback off of customers that you've already obtained. If you already have a farm business going, you can add another offering, and it's one that you can offer year-round. If you're brand new and you're thinking about doing multiple things, microgreens are a great place to start because, again, those profit margins are so high and you can do it year-round, whereas a lot of farming is seasonal. So I think it can work very, very well with a market garden style farm, and that you always have something available. Microgreens are always going to be available, and your more seasonal items are going to fit alongside that. For many, they have found that microgreens are kind of the backbone of their market garden sales. And I think that's exciting. And same thing with flowers. There's a lot of flower farmers. So that can work. It's just a great partnership. Great question. I think this is the last question. I've scrolled all the way down. Will you be able to assist us growing in the areas that we have to grow, don't get good lighting? Um, I will teach you how to set up an indoor space with grow lights. And if you are growing outdoors, we can look and see if you don't have adequate light. You most likely do if you're getting sunlight. Microgreens don't need a ton of direct sunlight. They do need light. If you have no light, if you're just growing them in your home with no grow lights, you will see they will grow, but they won't look great. You won't be setting yourself up to have a really high quality product to sell. So I will teach you all about the grow lights. I encourage you to use really efficient LED grow lights. They become very affordable, and I will walk you through that in the program as well. One more question. In your program, will you have more details pertaining to growing in a greenhouse if that is all that is available? This is coming up quite a few questions in this group. I'm excited to see so many of you wanting to grow in greenhouses. I will say the course focuses on indoor growing because I do think that gives you a great foundation for growing microgreens consistently. And that's one of the keys when you're thinking about growing to sell, particularly if you're wanting to sell every week. If you have one of these monetary goals and you're needing that revenue to be coming in every week, you want to be able to grow very consistently. And you can do that when you can control variables. In a greenhouse where you can't control variables, you can absolutely grow microgreens, but it will be more challenging to grow consistently. I'm definitely considering adding more information about growing in greenhouses, but right now the course really focuses on growing indoors. Although we do talk about growing in the greenhouse a lot, just in our weekly calls, there's many people doing it. And you really have to document. It's fun. I love growing outside. I love working in the sun. And I don't mind that there's some variability. Some people get really stressed out by it. I figured out what my growth cycles are at different seasons. And so it is doable. You can do it. All right. Great questions, everyone. Thank you so much. It makes it so fun when there's people who want to interact and ask questions. If you have other questions that come up, feel free to email me anything that you think about later. Or if you weren't able to watch this whole thing or you want to go back and rewatch a part, just email me if you have questions that come up. Watch your emails. I will be sending out that video with the grow space tour, the spare bedroom setup. If you want to see that, what that looks like, make sure you're checking your emails. Sometimes my emails go to spam or promotions or whatever. So just make sure you pull it to your inbox so you don't miss it. And you can check that out. And then any other questions that come up, just reach out. I'm so excited to dive in with a new group of students and for you to meet some of the existing students. You can jump right into the weekly calls when you sign up. We'll do a specific new student call on June 5th where we'll walk you through the program and kind of how to find everything, and we'll get to know each other. Everyone can kind of introduce themselves. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you again for being here, investing this hour and a half with me. I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm excited to see where you go on your microgreens journey. Let me know. I'm always rooting for people, whether or not you choose to dive into my program. I love seeing people who are excited about growing nutrient-dense microgreens for their communities. So let me know what's going on. And thank you again.